So I'm just going to kind of give you how telemedicine can change that particular community, and speak to it on a broader range as well. Overcoming current challenges, and a case study, which I actually am probably going to switch up. So my story actually starts kind of with my family story, and just kind of generations of mental illness and substance abuse. So my grandmother, who I've never had the opportunity to meet, killed my grandfather, who was domestically, or was abusing her. So my mom saw that at 4 years old, witnessed the entire thing. So I think that has a lot to do with where she is right now. So my mom is schizophrenic, struggled with substance abuse her entire life. So I'm obviously in the middle. My father, who I didn't have much of a relationship with, committed suicide when I was 9. So because of all this, he had substance abuse issues as well. I grew up in the foster care system. Went in at age 5 and aged out, bouncing around from Atlanta. So it was Atlanta and Florida. Foster care, I guess, 20 so years ago, you would go in and out, 100 times. They did everything in their power, and I get it, to try to reunite you. Now they've changed that. You get so many chances, and then they kind of say, hey, this is not that great for the kid. So just give you kind of a snapshot of foster care. So there's more than 400,000 foster youth currently in foster care system in America, more than 100,000 waiting to be adopted. 55% will be reunited with parents. So I think this is important because we have to take care of the mental wellness of parents, kids, that trauma that they go through. Most of these kids are going to go back to their families, and so we need to take care of that. Average number of placements is 3, and this will tie into kind of some points I'll make later on. In Florida, one of the things that we passed, and actually am excited about in 2014, that they extended foster care from 18 to 21. So not only in foster care, you bounce around, you pick up different morals, values, things happen to you. At one time at 18, it was, glad you were here, nice to see you, farewell. So I think now they're realizing that at 18, that doesn't necessarily make you an adult, and you need additional support. So this is where we kind of get into the mental health part of it. So 50% of foster youth are determined to have clinically significant emotional and behavioral problems. I always joke, you think, most people end up in foster care, not by the best, the best reason. So my own kind of personal way of going in, and this is why I was blessed enough to become a clinical social worker, so I was able to read about my issues and interventions and tools to kind of make myself better. But at the age of 5, I remember my mom, it was me and my sister and my mom in Atlanta. She took me to General Motors, and she told me and my sister, go to the security guard tower and let them know you're looking for your father. And so we went, and they said, we don't know anybody by that name, and when we turned around, she was gone. So that's a pretty traumatic way to kind of enter into a system. Now, now when you go into the system, they try to get you as much therapy as possible. But because there's such a shortage of psychiatrists and therapists, sometimes you're waiting, or sometimes you don't get the specialist that is best, meets your needs. So I think this population really kind of demonstrates the need to utilize telemedicine to extend people. You're able to see more people. Myself, I'm able to practice in the evening hours because I can be at home and I can just come downstairs versus trying to drive. So I think we really have to use telemedicine to reach these populations that are underserved. Between 1 and 3/4 children that enter the foster care system exhibit behavioral and social competency problems. So again, coming from backgrounds where you witness domestic violence, drugs, neglect, trauma, sexual abuse, and when we age out, we don't fare too well. Most of the time, we don't go off to college. We have no support systems, and you got a lot of emotional things that you're trying to deal with. You don't understand, where they manifest from, where they come from. So we really need to, kind of hone in on the importance of mental health. Now, I'm talking about this population, but this extends to all different types of populations. I work with cancer patients who are trying to take care of home, take care of kids, they're dying. You know, how do you deal with that? So some of the effects, I talked about the high school rate is not that great. This is the statistic that really kind of blew my mind when I came across it. So foster kids or foster care alumni experience PTSD 5 times that of normal population, but 2 times that of a combat veteran. That's insane. You know, now there's a lot going on with PTSD, a lot of resources. But I mean, to me, it still blows my mind that that is the case for foster youth. Dependency issues, drugs. So these are some of the issues from a report. And again, this is part of the broader